Hey, Mark from Orlando Planning here, and today we invite you to be our guest. We're going to count down our top 10 best Disney films. For the first time in forever, we're doing Disney movies, so what do you think? Will I have a friend in you at the end of this video? Comment below what you think, and remember to subscribe. Number 10, Frozen. Okay, this story based off the Norwegian tale of two sisters, one of them getting super magic powers. I don't really understand how, but either way, this is probably the most successful Disney princess revival film that they seem to have going on at the moment. So yeah, it's definitely filled with loads of tunes. There's no way you wouldn't have heard the entire soundtrack, especially if you've got kids. It's probably on pretty much every week, maybe every day even. So this is this is a number 10 because it is good, but there's just so many other really good Disney films. And if you don't agree with me, just come on, just, let it go. 101 Dalmatians. Okay, the box here you should probably notice that this is the live action one, but we're actually referring to the cartoon one, as we can't actually find the cartoon one, unfortunately, but we just love the film. It's got so many doggies. Disney really kids love animals, and there's none more than doggies. Argue it out in the comments. But yeah, it's one of those films that when you watch it, you really love it, but you kind of halfway forget the story if you haven't seen it in a few years, and then you go back and you kind of think, wait a minute, how did one dog have 101 Dalmatians, 101 puppies? How? But then you realise that Cruella de Vil stole the rest of the puppies, and I don't know why they decided to keep it at the end. They didn't go, oh wait a minute, we can't look after 101 Dalmatians, because imagine the dog food bill, imagine cleaning up the dogs, and neighbours as well. You'd hate that house, especially if you're a cat person and have 101 Dalmatians. One of my friends had 2 dogs, and their house completely stinks of dog, let alone 101 of them. I just don't see how they're gonna unless they opened up their house to become some kind of dog museum, tourist attraction that people go and they pay just to have a look at all the doggies. But anyway, I'm pretty sure the overheads will be a lot more. I think I'm going off on one here, so okay, 101 Dalmatians. Number 8, Bambi. This one I'm pretty sure was based off of Walt Disney's experience, because what happened was when Walt Disney got really rich, he decided to buy his parents a big house, a huge mansion, and they one of the there was a gas valve leak or something like that, and they all died of things like carbon monoxide poisoning or some kind of gas poisoning. So effectively he felt that he had killed his mum and dad. But well, that's just that's just what one of the rumours might have happened. Either way, very, very sad. But as you can tell, one of the saddest scenes in movie history is Bambi calling out to his mummy, and she's dead, and it's dead, and you can't help but think oh, that's really sad. It's terrible. The first Pixar film on our list, first of many, because technically Frozen was just Disney Studios. But no, Monsters Inc. I love it. It's just so imaginative. It goes back to the fear of children looking in their closet and really turns it on its head, and that's really good imagination, and it's hilarious as well. It's definitely one of my most funny Pixar films. Mike Wazowski, and that's probably the only one I can do. And just all the awesome monsters, and the scene where they go into the factory with all the doors, and they're holding onto the door, and there's millions and millions of doors. It's just really clever and just awesome. So it's definitely one of my favourites. Always worth watching. It's on TV, or if you just feel like watching a DVD. Beauty and the Beast. Okay, this has one of my favourite Disney songs of all time, and it's Tell All This Time, sung by Mrs. Potts, the cutest singing motherly T-bot ever. But anyway, it's just an awesome story. I love it. Just full of really cool like imagination, like just brilliant song. Pretty every song, like everybody like loves this, and it's funny as well. Again, it was like, well, this is like part of. I think it's pretty much during the 90s one of the defining films of Disney, as well as like The Little Mermaid and Aladdin. Like that trio were probably the most free-played cartoons of the whole of the 90s. But anyway.
In your house or in general?
In general. Number 5, Lady and the Tramp. Okay, this is like one of those classic stories. You know how like I'm pretty sure a lot of Walt Disney's work was based on like Shakespearean stories, because it has that kind of like tinge to it, like like a very classy like dog going out with a very trampy dog. So I'm pretty sure that wasn't the words of Shakespeare, but it has one of those like Romeo and Juliet kind of feel to it. But either way, it's like beautiful. Again, they've got the animals like doggies. Everybody loves the doggy. But it also looks into that really interesting like family perspective of, well, the Darlings, I think they're called, well, Jim, Deer and the woman. They have a baby, and then the doggy feels like they're being pushed out, because obviously there's always a thing like you don't leave a child in a room with a dog. And it's just from like that perspective, but it also could be looked at the perspective of when there's an older sibling wanting to be pushed out, like being pushed out by like a new sibling, like a baby. I think a lot of people with like younger brothers and sisters do feel like that, like at least at first. Anyway, number 4, Finding Nemo. Okay, this is probably one of my favourite Pixar films, as it's probably the funniest Pixar film, and again it looks back at those classic stories, because it's just human feelings and like human like kind of interactions, but as fish, probably the funniest one. I know like for a while that there was some big argument between Disney and Pixar, and they thought this was going to be the very last Pixar film, and I got really upset by this. But at the end, if it would have finished with Finding Nemo, at the time I probably would have been okay with it, because at least then it would have ended with something really like a really great film. Also interesting. Okay, right at the beginning, the mother dies and all of the other babies die, and there's only one baby. Technically, and I'm not sure why they didn't put this in the film, but I kind of have a feeling why they didn't. I kind of have a feeling why. The dad, Marlin, technically he would have had to change his gender, because that's what the fishes do. In the lack of a female, the male changes its gender into a female. So that would be a completely different film. Remember, fish are friends, not food. Whoa! Number 3, Toy Story. Okay, we just decided to show you a picture of our time when we spent with Woody and Buzz at Disney World. As you can see, there's me and Laura and Buzz and Woody. So yeah, like it's just awesome. It's the very first Pixar film, and it really again defines their genre. I'm pretty sure that without Toy Story we wouldn't have Pixar. Without Pixar we wouldn't have like really great. There wouldn't be as much interest in 3D animation as there is. And obviously if they've made like 3 sequels, soon to be 4. Well, by the time this video, but at the time you're watching this video, there could be like 7 Toy Story films out. Because I'm pretty sure they're going to keep coming back to this again and again and again and again. But I don't know. The only argument I'm having is which one I like better. I mean, the first one, absolute classic. Buzz Lightyear, he thinks that he's a space ranger the whole time. He doesn't think he's a toy. Why does he freeze? Like when Andy comes in. I mean, like you could argue it's like all the magic and all of that without even thinking. But then again, like Woody talks to Sid at the end of the film. But then again, stop overanalyzing it. This is a kids' film. Come on, you love it. It's funny. It's awesome. It's toys. Just get over it. It's fun. It's a good film. Stop trying to find like plot holes of it. It's good. Just what it is what it is. Either way, I like the second. I'm not even sure if I think I like the second one better, just because it's funnier. Like it's hilarious. Maybe the story's not as good. It's not as original the second time round, but it was funny. And the third one, just so very sad. Number 2, just missing out on number 1, is The Jungle Book. This is an utter classic. So it's just the story of a child who, I'm not really sure how, but he learns English when results, like studies show that children growing up in like the jungle normally become feral children, but that would be a completely different film if Mowgli was feral. So either way, he gets adopted by a panther with Bagheera, which doesn't somehow eat him again, but this is a Disney film, so it's alright. And Bagheera looks after him, saves him from all like the snake and still the horrors of the jungle, and really treats him like a son, really. And then he meets Baloo, which is one of the possibly the most recognised characters with the most catchy song in Disney history. The bare necessities of life will come to you. The soundtrack is amazing, it's really on par. The story is like awesome, like it's got so much plot and so much like just like really interesting, really like climactic scenes, especially with Shere Khan like fighting Mowgli. How he managed to beat him, like, oh, I don't know, but anyway, it's awesome, it's really, really good. But this, unfortunately, is one of the films which is tainted by a sequel. Twice now! Twice I've tried to watch The Jungle Book 2, and I have not got past the first 5 minutes because it's just unwatchable. Please, stop making straight-to-DVD Disney sequels. I just can't bear them, especially with all these classics. I don't know why. I mean, they seem to have better luck like nowadays with like, well, we said before, Toy Story 2 and like upcoming Finding Dory. But then again, I may be biting my words whilst like if that comes out and it's, nobody likes it, but hopefully it will be. But either way, Jungle Book 2 was just terrible. Like, well, the first 5 minutes was terrible. I don't know whether it gets better or whether it doesn't, but either way, we shouldn't forget the greatness of the jungle. Maybe Mowgli, he goes off to the village with that weird hot woman balancing on her head while she can just hold it, I'll never know. And that's the end. No more sequels, nothing. That's it. Number 1! As you can tell by Pumbaa here, it is The Lion King. One of the most classic Disney film, in my opinion. Again, in my opinion, it's just the songs, everybody loves the song, like co-written by Elton John. It's just like a fantastic story. Again, based on Shakespeare's Hamlet in part. It's probably a lot more than Disney likes to say. But either way, so it's just like great. Like I remember as a kid watching it again and again and again and again and again and again, just again. And this was the first Disney film to actually feature a dead parent on stage. When Mufasa is killed and it's like, Timon and Pumbaa, hilarious, like a hilarious dynamic, and also, you see that whole thing of him like growing up, which is, it just shows the life of him. It's less of just like a week or like a few weeks as you normally get in Disney films. This actually progresses him like halfway through the film, like from being a child to being a man and standing up to your responsibilities, and it's just brilliant as well. So that's why he couldn't wait to be king, and now The Lion King is our king. Originally, The Lion King wasn't actually supposed to be, it wasn't expected to be the massive hit that it was. It was only like a Disney B project, like a B-side. So to have the success that it was, it was awesome. Okay, so that is the end of our countdown. So with so many Disney films and so many opinions, there's probably so, like, in your living room at the moment or bedroom, wherever you're watching this, there's probably so many different opinions going on now. So comment below, what's your favourite? I know there's loads that we missed out. Think of, like, now I know that we missed off The Incredibles, we missed off Mary Poppins, all of them, but, there's not a list big enough. Well, let's do, like, less than 100 Disney things, but still, you probably wouldn't agree with that either way. So please comment below, like this video, and share it around. See what your friends think about this, and do they agree? So remember, subscribe to our channel for loads more like Disney videos, and follow us on Twitter @PlanningOrlando. Signing off now. So bye 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 bye.